Hi guys, a lot of times I get asked this question, what's the job opportunities for a pharmacy graduate in the UK? And I thought I had already answered this question through my own experience. I've shared videos about that. And also I have had many friends come over to my channel who were kind enough to share their journey of moving to the UK, doing a master's, and how they were able to find job in the pharmacy related area. But I realized that there is a lot of gap in getting that one-stop shop video where you can find all the different job opportunities, no matter if it is in the industry or if it is hospital based within the UK. So here is this video for you where I'm going to share different job opportunities and in different sectors for pharmacy graduates, no matter which pharmacy degree you have done, even if it is B Pharm, Pharm D, M Pharm. And if you are a student who is already in the UK doing some kind of pharmacy related course, or you are planning to come to UK in future for any intake, no matter if it is September or Jan in the coming years, this video may be right for you. So before I go into the main important part of this video, I just wanted to share some important tips with you all. So the UK employers usually prefer that their employees are based in the country. That is, you could be in the country on a Tier 4 visa as a student, or if you have already moved into a PSW visa again, which is a Tier 4 visa, that's fine. Or you are in the country on your spouse's Tier 2 visa, that's also fine. So this essentially means that if you're applying from an abroad country as an international applicant, if you're applying from India, Pakistan or Bangladesh, chances are the employers would look at the location where you are based, and based on that there are chances of rejection. And all this to say, it's good to be in the country already to get selected or get into the first stage of interview. That's what works. In very rare cases, the employers would seek applicants from the other countries, and this usually is the choice for the IT sector. There are a lot of people being brought from the different international countries to work in the UK, where the employers give you the sponsorship, all the amount that is required for in order for the migration, all of that will be covered by the company. But in our sector, which is like pharmacy related sector, it has not really been that case. I am not aware of it, but if you have your friends or someone who has done it, please don't quote me on that. In very rare cases, do they prefer the international applicants who are already not there in the country. So once this is understood, I will go on to the next important factor, that UK is an experience-based market. And I have been saying this in all of my videos, that UK employers prefer the employee to already have some kind of experience in the field that you're looking at. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the same department or the same role, but having experience counts. This is not a professional or a qualification based market. This is an experience based market. That means if you have had some kind of experience in the hospital, you have to, like, also you have worked on some kind of medicinal product, you have been interacting with the patients. How can you transfer that soft skill to work in the industry? And if you have had some kind of similar or the same role experience, the job market will be so easy for you and you will be able to get the jobs quickly. But there are also people who have not had any experience and they came to the UK, and based on their skills, like the way they communicate and all the soft skills and qualities that they have been able to get the job. So there is no hard and fast rule for it, but it is good to have experience before you come to the UK. So now that these 2 points are very clear, so let us go into the places where you can find job in the UK. So like I said, there are 4 main areas for a pharmacy graduate to find job in the UK. I would start off with the NHS. NHS is the National Health Service in the UK. Unlike our countries, if we are from Asia like Pakistan, India or Bangladesh, we pay for our health services from our pocket. But in UK, it is more centralized, where the healthcare is provided by the National Health Service, and the system is completely different from what we see in our countries. And being a central part of the healthcare, and they provide free healthcare for their citizens, there are a lot of job opportunities for people like us who have background in pharmacy. So starting off, you can become a pharmacist, that is a hospital pharmacist. For this, you need to have the eligibility, that is a registered licensed pharmacist in the UK. And for this, you need to complete the OSPAP and also complete the examination. All the details about which I have explained in detail in my another video, which is OSPAP. I'll link it somewhere here, and you can refer to it, what are the steps and how you can become a registered pharmacist in the UK. So that's the number one, you can become a hospital pharmacist under the NHS. Second one is the clinical trial associate, clinical trial coordinator, clinical trial facilitator. No matter what name you call it, it's related to clinical trials. So like I said, NHS being the central part of the healthcare service in the UK, they also take up many phase 1 clinical trials. If you are from a pharmacy degree, you would understand what the phase 1 means and how important that step is when the drug gets tested in the humans for the first time. So these trials can also be undertaken by the NHS, and when the trials happen, you can be monitoring the patients, collecting their data, and doing a bit of administrative work. So this all comes under the clinical trial associate, clinical trial coordinator, clinical trial facilitators, or clinical trial assistant. There's so many names for that, and these jobs are not just for the pharmacists, but these can also be taken up by the nurse and doctors, physicians, anybody with a science degree can take up these roles, and this is something that the pharmacy graduate can also look at. Next one is the medical information unit under the NHS. So if basically the information regarding the toxicological data or the poison, everything that needs to be gathered by the patient or a healthcare professional, they would communicate to you and you would respond to these queries, and this role is under the NHS itself and can also come under the industry, which I'm going to cover later. So this is the medical information associate, a medical information specialist. So there are many names by which you can come to this role. Next is the project management under the NHS, and here you will be managing different grants, the project funds, then doing a bit of administrative work, being able to get involved in so many important projects that's run by the NHS. So this is also a very lucrative offer, and being under the project management of the NHS can help you move into the industry if you want to move into the industry in future. So that's also one simple and a transitioning step that you can go into. So many other opportunities within the NHS, and there are so many grades, and there's a possibility to get the sponsorship. Sponsorship is moving from the tier 2 visa to tier 2 visa. The tier 2 visa needs someone to give you the sponsorship, and being in that visa helps you to move into the indefinite leave to remain status. You have to be in the tier 2 visa for 5 years, and by the end of 5 years you can reach the ILR status. So that's the sponsorship. I just wanted to cover it here, but that's the NHS for you. There are more opportunities, and if I do come across many of them, I would try to make another video focusing on the NHS jobs. Now moving to the industry. Again, there are so many opportunities within the industry. There are the core pharmas, like the big name, big pharmas, and also there are the contract research organizations who do the work for the main pharmas, and there are so many opportunities both in the big pharmas as well as the CROs. So the eligibility criteria, instead of sharing the eligibility criteria for each of these roles, I can share that the eligibility criteria is common. You just need to have a pharmacy degree, no matter B Pharm, M Pharm, or Pharm D. You may have also done a master's in the UK, which is relating to pharmaceutical medicine, drug development, regulatory affairs, medical affairs, and clinical pharmacology. So all of these masters, along with your previous degree, is relevant, and it's a major eligibility criteria to find a job in the industry. So I will start off with the clinical operations. It is very much similar to that we were discussing to the jobs in NHS. The ones that I mentioned, the clinical trial associate, facilitator, or the clinical trials coordinator. So those kind of roles can also be found in the industry, and this falls under the clinical operations department, where you will be taking care of all the different kind of clinical trials that happen in the patients. You would record their data, you would collect it, you would be filing it to the different healthcare authorities, and you would be monitoring the clinical trials. So this comes under the clinical operations department. So similar to the roles you saw in the NHS, in addition to that, you can also see clinical operations specialists, clinical trial associates, clinical trial coordinators, etc. So having mentioned the industry, I just mentioned big pharmas in the CROs, but for this specific role, you can also find roles in the phase 1 clinical trial units in the UK. So to find out the details of the phase 1 clinical trial units in the UK, you can just type the same in Google and you would get the list of all the different clinical trial units in the UK. And the major ones that employ pharmacy graduates are Richmond Pharmacology, then the HMR Hammersmith Medical Research, and there are so many clinical trial units, phase 1 clinical trial units in the UK, and you can apply to any of these. So when I'm saying these roles, what you need to do is to take a note of it and go to LinkedIn, and immediately there may not be any roles right now available or like job opportunities available right now, but you can create an alert, and whenever there are any opportunities that come in that department or maybe in that company or any other company, you will get the alerts. So just do that. The next department that I wanted to talk was the pharmacovigilance department. So if you're interested in taking care of the safety and monitoring what the safety data of the medicinal product is once it has been approved by the healthcare authority, you can join the pharmacovigilance department, which is basically monitoring the drug safety of the medicinal product. In that department, you can have many different type of roles like the safety associate, drug safety specialist, safety associate, drug safety physician. So all of these roles are different, and they sometimes manage the systems, they sometimes take care of the monitoring and reporting itself. So there are so many variations for the pharmacovigilance role within the industry. So the next is the medical affairs. So medical affairs usually deals with the clinicians and healthcare professionals gathering the real world evidence data of a medicine, trying to understand how the medicinal product works in the real world setting, and gathering the information, trying to do many more phase 4 clinical trials, having the conversations with clinicians, trying to do investigator-led studies and researchers, trying to do their publications, trying to gather more information, maybe the safety related, maybe efficacy related. So this is what this department does, that is called medical affairs. In the medical affairs, there are various roles like the medical science liaisons who talk to the clinicians on a regular basis. They try to gather more data, or you can be a scientific or medical reviewer who kind of review data or documents that gets published on a journal, or maybe when the industry professionals are doing like a webinar or like a talk or a conference, what should be shared and how it needs to be shared. Is it adhering to all the guidelines, the ABPI guidelines that we follow in the UK? So this is what the medical reviewer does. Similar to what we have in the NHS, the medical information role also is found in the industry, like I mentioned before. Also, you can be a medical affairs associate, medical affairs specialist. So there are many grades for this role. So if you are interested in going into medical affairs roles, you would be able to find these kind of job openings in the LinkedIn, and you can create an alert to it. Now coming to my favorite one, which is the regulatory affairs. So the entire life cycle of a medicinal product is taken care of by the regulatory affairs department. And in the regulatory affairs department, there are diverse roles that you can take up. So if you are a person who loves chemistry and you want to work in something related to chemistry in your industry related role, why don't you try the CMC roles in the regulatory affairs? And this is one of the most crucial, interesting, and also a lot of chemistry, molecules, and the formulation, how the medicine can be formulated for pediatrics, for adults, and what are the strategic decisions that you need to make. It's a fantastic role. Similar to that, you have the therapeutic area in the regulatory affairs itself. So there are roles like regulatory affairs specialist, regulatory affairs officer, which kind of manages the information that they get from the CMC, but also from the information that they get from the medical affairs, from pharmacovigilance. So all of these consolidated information they get from the clinical trials and clinical operations, and making it submission ready for the submission to the health authority. So they kind of take care of that. Then we have the regulatory operations team. If you're a person who is tech savvy and like to manage data, documents on the system, and you love to do that, why can't you try something called regulatory operations, which is more systems related, and you have to be a bit of tech savvy, trying to learn new technologies, how the interoperability between the different systems work. So that can be found in the regulatory specialist role. And the one that I specifically love is the regulatory intelligence. This role is all about capturing information from the outside and then bringing it inside for all the internal teams to take action upon what needs to be done and how these strategies can be implemented, how the changing legislations, guidelines would affect us, and how we would change our operations and ways of working. So these are all the different fun and diverse roles within the regulatory. So most of the roles and the job titles would be regulatory operations specialist, regulatory affairs officer, regulatory affairs specialist, or regulatory intelligence officer, something like that. So all of those related jobs you can find within the LinkedIn, and if you are interested, do try to make a job alert for it. So having said that, these are not just the roles that you would find in the industry. There are many more roles in the commercial side, in the market access side, and maybe in the real world evidence team. There are so many roles that the pharmacy graduates can take up, but I would make a separate video of all the roles that a pharmacy graduate can do in the industry very specifically, because that's what I get exposed to on a daily basis, and so stay tuned for that. Next is the university-based roles. So if you have completed your master's from a research institute like King's College or from the University College of London, there are so many different universities who conduct their own research. Maybe they have their own researchers who try to develop the medicines or conduct various researches, and they try to publish their own research works, etc. So you can join your dissertation supervisors who were already conducting a very interesting study. You can just show your work and share your interest, and in doing so you get to do the literature reviews, maybe generate some evidence, maybe join them in their journal publication, etc. So these roles are very interesting because you may land in a job as soon as you complete your work, and in the meantime you can still go on applying for different jobs, maybe in NHS or in industry. So there's lots of flexibility that these kind of jobs offer. So the job titles usually goes as scientific associate, junior research associate, and coming to the last but not least, but the most important one, which is becoming a licensed pharmacist in the UK. I would say this is the most safe and secure job to have in the UK. So it's a bit of, instead of going through the masters, you have to do the 9 months or the 12 months course of OSPAP. During the second year you would do an internship, and towards the end of it you would write the exam and then become a licensed registered pharmacist in the UK. I've shared the complete details about becoming a registered pharmacist in the UK in my video, and I'm going to share the link up here so that you can refer to it. It's a very simple and straightforward process, but the problem is that the seats are very limited and it's only offered by 4 different colleges in the UK. So you have to make sure you meet the eligibility requirements, as well as there are enough seats to join the course. So through becoming the licensed registered pharmacist in the UK, you can also join the hospital, and in turn, if you want to join the industry, there are a lot of opportunities, especially coming to the clinical operations, pharmacovigilance, also in the medical affairs department. So I hope all the 4 job opportunity sectors are very clear for you. As a pharmacy graduate, there are lots of opportunities, and it is not just restricted to finding jobs as a pharmacist or in the industry. Like I said, you can find in the NHS, you can find it in the industry, you can find it as a pharmacist, and there are also opportunities within the research unit in the universities. So please make use of that. I hope this video was useful for you, and let's see in another video with more useful content. So till then, take care. Ciao.